Nancy Norris. This is how downtown Holliston looked during our anniversary year in 1974. There is our public library with our sign out front where we advertised all our upcoming events for the year. Aubuchon's along the main street, Washington Street. This used to be the location of the Historical Society, now known as Al's Restaurant. This was the town's first undertaking in building a housing for the elderly in town. This is the anniversary committee. Bill Lay, Mel Washer, Mary Greendale, Nancy Norris, Bill Hamlet, co-chairman, Frank Perrin, chairman, Carol Bell, Tom Stewart, Ron Geltman. A committee that worked hard all during the year, plus 2 years before getting ready. Most of our meetings were held up at the high school library. The committee numbered, the full committee numbered, anywhere from 50 to 60. There's Frank Overman getting ready to tell us all about the horse show. Even our Minutemen were involved in the committee. You notice how a lot of people came to the meeting dressed in costumes. Norm Bloomstein. There's Ronnie Bell. No, I'm sorry, that's Ronnie Ludwig, who is presenting Nancy Norris with a pin making her an honorary member of the sister group, Sister Bells, as we call them. Mary Greendale. There's Tom Stewart.
And Tom's always worrying about money.
Frank Perrin, our chairman. He's really interested, Bob Hudson, yes, interested in what's going on at the meeting.
And that's Frank Perrin being made an honorary member of the Brothers of the Brush by Frank Ludwig.
Bob Hudson sleeping again. This is a picture of the whole committee. One portion of it, and this is the other portion. As you can see, it took many people working together for the whole year to be making sure that it was a successful year for the town.
The chairpersons of the fashion show are Mary Greendale and Jane Newton. Mary Greendale will be doing the narration.
This is Dan Willis wearing a costume of the Minutemen. The program of the fashion show began with the Minutemen entering from the rear of the building in a very dramatic entrance, marching to the stage and lining up as you see them there. All of the Minutemen were dressed in colonial costume typical of the day. One gentleman that was also a part of this scene was Mr. Ron Malcasian, right there gesturing with his left hand, who was a sympathizer of the Tories. And he gave a very interesting and entertaining dissertation about colonial people, and this is he giving his talk, and how they were just upstarts and not terribly conscientious and not terribly bright either, as I recall some of his comments. Sneering at their dress. This was one of the drills led by Colonel Henderson. This is Frank Perrin, our chairman and also chief running bear, that's spelled B-E-A-R, being chased off stage by Jean Fishlock. Just a moment of levity. This is Cindy Lynn, who began our parade of fashions wearing a very old woolen suit. And this is her mother, her father, and her very youngest sister, that's Sarah Lynn, in an old carriage. Her mother wearing an dress from the 1800s. This was Linda Brown, She was wearing one of the rear bustle effect dresses that were popular, very awkward walking in and very uncomfortable sitting in. This beautiful dress is all sequined and has black velvet pattern laid over it. Another one of the bustle style dresses that they're getting more flared at the bottom. This is Lisa Hines showing the fashions of sporting events. This is a tennis dress of the day. Doesn't look at all like our tennis dresses today. Don't know how anyone played in it. We attempted to get a cross-section of the town, ranging from very young children to our very dear and kindly elderly people in town. Everyone seemed to enjoy the activity. Dorothy Mahoney wearing a very lovely frock. Getting up into the 50s, we have Dina Silver wearing a hooded dress. Oh, and we had some bathing beauties, such as Jackie Delliger wearing a fashionable bathing suit, and that's another less than attractive bathing suit, I suppose. And the typical muscle man of the year, Frank Fishlock, clad in boots, and our own Betty Grable in the form of Paula Gay, and then a rather distracting influence on stage who managed to rouse our two sailor friends. This was Cindy Lynn giving a monologue on the underdressings and undergarments that women had to envelop themselves in back in the 1800s. This would be the corset with the heavy lacings in the front that she is getting into now. All of this uncomfortable paraphernalia was not worn by our models during the show, except for this one segment. These are some very lovely dresses from the Historical Society collection, the most exclusive and exquisite dresses that we had in the show. This was done in turquoise and browns and was just a most beautiful piece of hand sewing and tucking that was to be imagined. This three-piece set was out of taffeta. That was worn by Dory Greeley. Another one from the selection at the Historical Society. You can tell the intricateness of those dresses. This is Sybil Bear wearing a velvet outfit. The kind of outfit that would have opened a winter season in some resort area. Another one of the Historical Society gowns worn by Cindy Lynn. Again, you can see how detailed and exquisite they are. Cindy was about our tiniest model and therefore got to wear some of the really difficult to fit dresses. Now you're getting into an era of the early 1900s when fashion took a startling change from all of the formality and the tucks and the flounces. And this is Marlene Kelly wearing a really pretty dress. This was also from the Historical Society. Paula Gay in the Roaring Twenties is on the left. Now we're getting up into the 30s in costume. Designs changing drastically very quickly. This was our wedding scene. What we attempted to do was to show different kinds of wedding dress, starting with modern day with Henry Delliger and Nancy Pistone, and working back in time as far back as we could possibly go. These were back into the 50s with Charlie King and Cindy LaFave. Jim Poitras and Cindy Lynn again. This was our ball scene, Sybil Bear and Herman Milligan. The ball scene showed the evening gowns and dresses from the various periods of time up to modern time and all the way back to the colonial time, our Minutemen being the ones in our colonial dress. These are obviously still the more modern fashions. Getting back into the 20s now. Here we have the 30s and 40s. Jim Poitras coming again with Paula Gay. Marlene Kelly, and right in front, Fran Torgeson doing her thing from the 1920s. This is one of the Lynn boys, and frankly can't remember, Frank Perrin. Oh, escorting someone else again. And the march just kept going on and on. Here we have something from the 50s on Linda Huff. And there we have some colonial dress. It was an opportunity to see how much fashion had changed, such as this one from the 1860s, the Gone with the Wind era. Colonel and Mrs. Henderson from the Minutemen, the Berries from the Minutemen.
This is Alice Kobrick describing the League of Women Voters' old-fashioned political rally. The theme of the evening was Voting is People Power. It began with a colorful reenactment of a town meeting of 1774 by the Holliston companies of militia. Chief debate was the tea tax, stoutly defended by Tory Ron Malcasian and denounced by local patriot Captain Daniel Willis. The audience, Captain Willis continues the debate. There's Jackie Dellicker, the co-chairman for the evening. Many of the candidates waiting to give their speeches and encourage the voters to vote for them. They seem very much engrossed. There's Town Treasurer Betty Buston, Park Commissioner Ron Lefebvre, Barbara Christensen running for Park Commission, Tom Hayes running for Park Commission. Barbara Christensen came in colonial costume to further emphasize the 250th theme. The audience was startled by the sudden appearance of the Brothers of the Brush, who silently shook hands with each candidate and wordlessly left. There's Jackie Dellicker with her electronic timer and cane. Paula Gay and League President Lee Richmond escorted guest of honor Wallace Watts. Mr. Watts was given a standing ovation in honor of his many years of service to the town. There's Town Clerk William Grady. The people were able to mingle with the candidates afterwards, looking at political memorabilia, drinking root beer, shelling peanuts, supporting their candidates, discussing the issues. There's Town Treasurer and League member Betty Buston. Happiness is being able to vote for the candidate of your choice. And people seem very friendly and happy in Holliston, celebrating the 250th and the freedoms we all enjoy. There's Mr. Perrin again, who adds flair and color to any event, and as candidate for Tree Warren was a huge success.
mini marathon, chaired by Ron Kramer and Ron Drogan, both professional runners themselves that live here in town. It was a very cold, drizzly day for this event. There were 153 runners. You can see them doing their warm-up exercises, getting ready to run the course being 13.1 miles through Ashland and Holliston. The course started right up here at the high school and proceeded down Highland Street toward Ashland. There's the pack all ready to go, and now they're off. And it was cold, and it was rainy. We didn't expect that many to enter. Up to that date, there were only 53 entrants. But then that morning, they came from all around. Officiating this event were the members of the North Medford Track Club. We're proceeding down Highland Street toward Ashland. Really had an awful lot of work to do this day because they had to lead the runners along, plus close off many streets. We had auxiliary police all through the town. Makes no difference what kind of a weather it is with a runner. This event was held just prior to the marathon. So this was a warm-up for all those who did participate in the marathon. Now we're back onto Concord Street coming into the center of town. Here are the people waiting to see who would come in first. And here comes your first runner. And the winner is Tom Dadarian of Milford, who finished the course in 1 hour, 7 minutes, and 22 seconds. Here he's being presented a trophy, and here is your second winner, Ken Mueller of Bellingham. A lot of the entrants came from all around Massachusetts. You can tell how cold it is by the way the spectators are dressed. Many different prizes were awarded to the first 37 finishers. Prizes were donated by many of the local organizations in Holliston. It's Tom Derderian's wife, Charlotte. She was the first woman to come in, with her time being 1 hour, 20 minutes, and 33 seconds.
Sing joyfully to God on the evening of Thanksgiving. A sacred choral concert consisting of 130 voices from the Framingham greater area filled the First Congregational Church of Holliston to overflowing on the first day of Lent. Due to such people as Professor James Sarvis and Mrs. Ruth Rice and all the choir members, it was truly a tribute in thanksgiving to God for the blessing bestowed on our town.